This is a Toyota Sienna minivan. This specific model is the Woodlands model, starts at $47,000, but the entry-level models start around $36,000. Now, no matter which Toyota Sienna you get, you're gonna get 36 miles per gallon city, 36 miles per gallon highway. The Woodlands model also sits up a little bit higher so you can drive it into the woods. So why am I comparing it to a Tesla Model Y? Well, they both have all-wheel drive, and when you start to put a few features on this that you're probably going to want anyways, you get up to the same cost of the Tesla Model Y. This is a hybrid, this is fully electric. I'm gonna show you where the Tesla does things better, and I'm gonna show you where the Sienna does things better, and hopefully that helps you in your shopping experience. This Sienna has the 18-inch bright wheels, and I think they look absolutely terrible. Now, this car has the premium audio system, and it sounds pretty good. It also has dynamic navigation. Now, what about this TI-89 calculator? It looks dynamic. I mean, this is the most basic, awful looking navigation system I've ever seen in a car, and especially for 2023, and that's been consistent across all Toyotas I've driven, minus the Toyota Supra that has the guts and everything else of a BMW, which is a good thing because it's expensive and it feels expensive on the inside. These native Toyota infotainment screens are awful and outdated and in a way almost unusable. To be fair, the Toyota Sienna does have Apple CarPlay, and a lot of people love that, and the Tesla does not have this capability. In the Tesla Model Y, you have this beautiful, I think it's a 13-inch infotainment system. This constantly has over-the-air updates, and one of my concerns getting my Tesla was, is this gonna slow down like a cell phone does over the years? Now, I've had this Model Y for over 3 years and 60,000 miles, and it just keeps getting better, and it hasn't slowed down. Also, when they do features over the air, two things they've done lately that are excellent. One, if you put your turn signal on, this blind spot screen pops up and you're able to move it to these 3 positions on the screen. Additionally, if you go to camera, through software, they've made the quality of these cameras better. On this 2024 Sienna, the reverse camera looks like they filmed it off the side of a toaster. This car that is 3 to 4 years older than it has better camera quality, partially because of the cameras on the car, but mainly because of software, and that's where the Toyota really lacks. But while the technology is good, you guys need practicality. And with this car seat in the back here, you can see it's even close to where this is sitting. So if you're approximately 6 feet tall like my wife and I, you're gonna be a little crammed up front. And really with car seats, you wanna leave a little gap in between here. That way, if you get in an accident, there's a little bit of give for the car seat to work properly. Whereas over in the minivan, you have much more space. But if you only have 4 people, or if you have 2 babies or infants, you're able to easily fit 2 car seats back here, and you're able to slide these back, as you saw in the opening shot of the video. You could be 8 feet tall and you'd be able to fit in the back of this minivan while still having 3 seats back there folded into the floor. So this could be a highly versatile place for babies and families to comfortably travel. You get good efficiency at 36 miles per gallon. You will get over 500 miles of range in this car. And in the city, you benefit from the hybrid technology, still getting 36 miles per gallon, and I think that's great. While it may not be as cool as getting a Tesla, while the performance isn't as good, the practicality is still there. But the number one issue I run into, and I was talking to someone recently who wanted to get a Sienna, is the buying experience, which is terrible. You go to the dealership, they tell you you can't get these, they try to mark them up, and you're paying over MSRP for a minivan. You don't even pay over MSRP for a brand new Porsche. So why would you be paying that for a Toyota Sienna? Now, regardless if you own a Toyota Sienna or a Tesla Model Y, or even something like my old BMW M2, today's video sponsor, Dimo, can be useful to you. Dimo is an innovative project that's all about enhancing your driving experience and putting the power back in your hands. It shows you some valuable insights. With Dimo, you can gain visibility into your driving habits and improve the way you take care of your car. And whether you own one car or a fleet of vehicles, you can add as many cars as you'd like to the Dimo app. And it's not just for EVs. You can check your oil life, your 12-volt battery life, and if you have an EV, you can check your EV battery health, which is a concern when buying a used electric vehicle. Dimo also works with any car that's 2008 and newer, so you can have all of your cars on one app. And like a digital wallet, you can store all important documents like title and registration in one secure virtual glove box. And that digital glove box is accessible whenever you need it. You can also earn Dimo rewards every week and can get discounts on things you need like maintenance services or EV charging through the app. Again, this is not just for EVs, it's for any car 2008 or newer. This will give you some peace of mind when that check engine light comes on, so you'll know if it's safe to drive, what the issue is, and then approved shops in your areas can give you quotes so you know exactly what to budget for. So check the link in the description and use my code for 10% off. Dimo, thank you for sponsoring the video. Let's also talk about the warranty. The warranty on the Tesla is 4 years, 50,000 miles, and then you also have an 8-year or 120,000 mile battery warranty. Everyone's worry is what's gonna happen to the battery, what's gonna happen to the battery. The materials in the battery is 95% recyclable. Companies like Redwood Materials are able to use what's in those batteries, those precious metals, and put them into new batteries and put them back into circulation. Whereas when these engines or everything fails, or even the battery that's sitting up front, the 12 volt, it's done. No one uses them. The warranty in the Sienna is 3 years, 36,000 miles, but it also comes with 2 years of Toyota Care, which covers all scheduled maintenance for 2 years or 25,000 miles. Now the Tesla doesn't have that, but that's because there are so few moving parts in the car that there's almost no maintenance. In fact, in 3 years, the only thing I've had to do on my Tesla is change the 12 volt. Just recently I did that. It was $116, had that done through Tesla, and they did a great job. And I've also had to change out the tires. There's no transmission fluid, differential, oil changes, any of that stuff. It's all very simple. So while there is that Toyota Care warranty, the Tesla doesn't have it. That's because there is no maintenance. The other thing though is this infotainment system. Yes, there's an HDMI cable that you can hook up and stream whatever, and I guess everyone can watch it, but a lot of people have phones or iPads, or maybe you should just try looking out the window for once. I just think this is outdated, and your iPad or phone is gonna have better technology than this and have the content that you want. So I'm not sure that this is really a worthwhile feature, although it is nice. Maybe if you're in a remote area and you've downloaded videos or whatever to your iPad, you can just stream it via the HDMI cable. Now with a car seat in the back, and then this is also a rear facing car seat, so as your kids grow up you'll be able to eliminate these, but it's very tight in this third row. I will say you're able to fit back here. Again, I'm 6 feet tall, so I can kind of wedge my knee over this way and I'm able to fit. But if there's only 4 of you, you have a huge storage space, and you can see how far this track comes on the way back. There is also a hole back here for you to store things. So it's not just a flat floor, which eliminates storage. You're able to go all the way down in there, almost like Tesla's sub-compartment in the trunk. So when these seats are all folded up, you could still get a lot of suitcases and probably all the junk that you need to go on a family road trip. And I think that's great. And as you can see, this folds totally flat. What's annoying is if you're hauling things, they could fall down into these creases, but if you're not, it won't be that big of a deal. I just like when SUVs kind of have everything covered up and it sits flush. But the usability of this minivan is incredible. I think what I run into is the argument of it being worth $50,000. I'd look more toward a base model, and then you get a lot more value out of the vehicle. Now, if you've driven a minivan or you've been with someone that owns a minivan, you've certainly been yelled at in a minivan. I mean, you can imagine the things I put my friends' parents through in a minivan. So let's see if you can hear what's being said on the interior from the exterior. That way, if between soccer practices, if you're really angry at your kid or another kid has been put in more playing time, you can calmly yell within the car and hopefully no one else on the outside can hear. Comfort is something that both a buyer of a Sienna and a Model Y owner is going to be looking into. And really, you know the Sienna is going to be comfortable. I mean, this thing is tough to beat in terms of comfort. For the driver's seat, resting my arm right down here on this pad has been really nice. You have a lot of space up here, and you have just your own little apartment in the driver's seat and the passenger seat. Captain's chairs equipped in this one in the back. very comfortable, and we'll have to test out how the third row comfort is. But overall, the driving position, the visibility, and because this is a Woodlands model, tow hitch set up in the back, the towing capacity is 3,500 pounds, and we have a slightly lifted ride height. So the visibility is a little bit better on this model compared to the other models in the Sienna lineup. But it's very comfortable. There's actually some wind noise over here, not a ton, but I'm actually surprised at that. I would have thought that this would have been a little bit quieter of a vehicle. The other comfort item that this probably does a little bit better than the Model Y is having these rear vents that can point. You can see we have a baby seat back here. These rear vents point wherever the passengers want them, and there's also rear vents all the way in the back in the third row. And keep in mind, you can get the Tesla Model Y with a 7-seat configuration, but it's extremely tight in the back there. It's only going to be for local driving, whereas in the minivan, you could really drive with 6 or 7 people in here and have a good amount of comfort. The suspension is very good, it's comfortable, it's compliant. The new Teslas are better than the original ones, like the 2022 and 23 models, or when they started to make adjustments to the suspension to make it softer. So it's much more compliant, it's not as rough as it used to be, but I would still overall say that this is slightly more comfortable in terms of suspension and all of that. Where this isn't as comfortable, and this is something that not a lot of people talk about, is the acceleration comfort that you get from the Tesla. Being able to have the perfect amount of power and use the throttle precisely to get exactly where you need to go in traffic, moving in and out of lanes. I not only think that's safer to have more power, but it's comfortable. You don't feel like you're like gonna floor the car to get it going. Like, I'm flooring it. It makes no difference. Like, it doesn't, you know, there's no one in the car right now. It's as light as it's gonna be. And when I floor it, it's just the CE, CVT transmission are just weak. Not that you're going to be flooring the car all the time. I'm just saying the Tesla is much more precise. It's a much better driving experience in terms of being able to place yourself exactly where you need to in traffic. I think the toughest part for me is when you compare the buying experience between the Tesla and the minivan, having to go to a Toyota dealership and negotiate, or not even be able to get a minivan of all things, is absurd. And then on top of that, negotiating so they don't put other add-ons that you don't need on the car. So that can be a pain and another advantage of buying a Tesla. But what the Tesla can't compete with at this price point is the space in here. Even though the Tesla has a frunk and a sub-compartment, this can seat a lot more people more comfortably. It's efficient because it's a hybrid. And if space and convenience is your #1 concern, then this is going to be excellent for you. Overall, I think the running costs in 5, 6, 7, 8 years will be significantly less with a Tesla. If you need the space and you don't want to spend $80,000 on a Tesla Model X, this is what you have to go with. And the sliding doors are convenient. It's actually cool. You can see on the side skirt here, there's this Wi-Fi looking wave, and that's actually a sensor that if you swing your foot underneath, it opens up the sliding door, and both sides of the vehicle have this. That can be useful if you're carrying your baby and you have something else in your hands. A lot of unique features. There's a lot of ergonomics in this car that makes sense. And another car you may be interested in is the Toyota 4Runner. How does that compare to a Model Y? And you can click this video right here to show the comparison between those two vehicles. I think you'll really enjoy it.